All right, guys. So I am now going to talk about self-regulation. Woohoo! Isn't that such a fun, technical, boring term? um, so when it comes to, like I've said, I shared with you, I have an eating disorder. And I have been in recovery now, but it's been pretty short term, but it's been all right. It's been on and off, with it and stuff. Um, and it's interesting because when I went into therapy 5 years ago, to really start to address it, um, you know, therapy actually exacerbated my eating disorder at first. It didn't help it, because I'm talking about all the issues that trigger it. And so one of the things that I think I really learned when it comes to like kind of self-regulating your emotions and stuff, is that I think to me, self-regulation is completely a byproduct of your own ability to be healed and your own ability to be centered in yourself and feeling good and feeling positive and things like that. Um, so what I have found that has been the biggest thing is to not try, it's hard to say it this way, but it's almost to not try to improve my self-regulation, because I have found that anytime I try to do that and go, okay, like starting tomorrow, I'm cutting sugar out of my life. It never works, ever, for me. What I have learned instead is to focus in instead on healing my wounds from my past and healing, any negative self-talk or addressing those things. Like every time I learn to take a negative thought that I think over and over again, and learn to address that in a very compassionate way, a loving way, or learn to just like get rid of it altogether because, I'm, like, oh wow, like, yeah, I don't think that way anymore, and something when I'm getting mad at myself about something and I'm like, wait, I don't need to think that way. Um, that means that my self-love is building up. It means that I'm loving myself more compassionate and more caring towards myself. And when I am that way with myself, I find then I can do a better job with my eating. That's where I can do a better job with my health. Um, when I can sleep better or take better care of myself. And so that's where I think that regulation comes for me. As a sensitive, emotional person, I find that like that's where I can do such a better job with myself is by saying like instead of trying to tackle the behavior head on, I actually go underneath that behavior instead and focus in on my struggle. Like for example, I struggled for a long time with my business with sales, because I learned my business by doing it for a few years, and then I was like, all right, now I need to actually sell my services. Now that I know what I'm doing, I need to be able to sell it. And I was so scared, and I was so terrified to do it. So I was so afraid of rejection. And so what I learned was instead of forcing myself to get out there and do sales, and you do, I mean, I still have to force myself to an extent. Like I'm like, okay, April, you do this. But instead of like, but what I would do is, I would, focus a little bit on the behavior, but really focus first on the thoughts behind it and the fears behind it. And so what I ended up doing was spending a lot of time kind of working through like my fears of failure. Why am I afraid of failure? Well, it's because, first off, when I was a kid, I was taught that I was a failure. Well, is that true? No, it's not true. And working through that and healing that, and it was amazing how as I have focused in on healing those fears of failure, and realizing I'm a normal person and it's okay to fail at times, And is it really failure? It's not really failure. It's just hearing no, not yet, or just, people saying, no, this just isn't what I need right now. But not to like, okay, move on. There's plenty of other people who do need what you need. By changing those thoughts and thinking helped me to be able to be much more comfortable with doing sales and not be shy about it. So that's why I think that it's really important that when you are looking at yourself going, why am I still single? Why am I still fat? Why am I still poor? All those horrible things that we do to judge ourselves and go, why can't I just change? It's like, because you have to look at the emotions underneath that first and heal those before you can really authentically do that. Because, for example, with my eating disorder, I went through a long stint for like 2 or 3 years where I actually didn't have it at all. Like, it was in, I would say, remission or recovery. But the problem was that I wasn't still healthy enough to sustain that. So all it took for me was a 5-day trip with my family, which I hadn't done in forever, to trigger it back, and it came back, and stuff. And then and it took me then a couple more years to recover from it again. But now what's different is that I feel like I've genuinely am recovering from it because I am feeling healthier about myself. I love myself more. And now it's like, it's not something that I would ever, want to do, because it's not just a habit that I stopped. It's because I'm genuinely caring more about myself, where I've got other good things that I'm doing, other good practices. So now that's not even a practice. It's not that I'm resisting it. It's that it's not an option anymore, because I have so many other better options that I'm choosing to take care of my emotions and stuff. So anyway, yeah, so I hope this helps, and have a great day.